All right. All right. I don't know. It said I was live and then it refreshed again, learning all the nuances. Today is day 2. Hey, y'all. This is payroll name Deb Halfridge. And I am going to do video journaling, which I have called Vimprov-ing. Put a V on the front of improv. I don't know how many of y'all can feel comfortable doing this live on YouTube. I'm quite aware there's nobody but me here, but nonetheless, there could be, and there should be, and there will be. So again, you'll have to pardon the fact, just for me, I'm gonna have to just look at myself. Something's different here than the way Zoom must be doing something to make it easier. I know I can move the little windows around, but there is something about this live that don't make no sense to me. Because I can't split processing. I'm either looking at myself or I'm looking at the little webcam light. And that makes no sense to me because I can't get the feedback on myself. How I've saved my own life is looking and listening to myself on video. This is a revolutionary concept, an evolutionary concept. My evolution is being televised. Laugh for you. Now, life's gotten deep. Like a bankruptcy, deep in debt. Yeah. Maybe I'll do a little visual, a little embodiment of the ba-dum-bum. And that's an interesting one. That is an interesting one because y'all are very visual. The difference between me and y'all is I understand we're not beings of light, we're beings of sound. We're beings of vibration, very specifically. Sound is just a name, a nickname for certain band of frequencies on the electromagnetic spectrum. Light is way, 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 way far up. Again, I constantly go on. I do not know how big it is. They're in scientific notation. And literally, my brain is like, you don't need to, it's just not, tell them to go to Wikipedia. We have breakfast. This is Morning Pages. Today we're doing pecans. Oh, my fave. Along with the rocket camus, which I'll show you. So basically, I just have the pour in the cream and simple syrup infused with cinnamon. These cinnamon sticks, don't try cinnamon powder. And dump the cacao on. So I'm literally making mousse live on TV. Just like Julia, right? I am so much fun to play with. And the fact that nobody's ever played with me. Play with my damn self. What I played with, though, this is an interesting point, and yeah, this is my bib. So, because the chocolate, if I get to stirring, sometimes pop out, and then I'm not paying attention, trying to talk. Just don't have any money for new clothes, so we can't have our nice, lovely mint green. Mint green is an interesting thing because we mean like a creamy green, don't we? Mint the herb, just standard plant green. These are the things that used to make Arsenio go, and make Deb go, you won't see this coming. You don't see this coming. See, sight all the way up the electromagnetic spectrum in like gigahertz. It's the last sense we had that really fully developed. We're very unique as a species. We don't have the capacity to really talk to our primate cousins about this, but sight creates blind spots. I should put that. Forget it. No shoulds. We going right to. So here's how I take notes to myself. And this is, again, talk about proof. Talk about everything. You don't have to worry about how my handwriting is. Yeah. Sight creates blind spots. And we can come at this differently, however we want to, but it's really true that human beings, this is our most recently developed sense, sight. We look at the history of evolution in eyes, in sight, between species. Having sight is what's allowed us to codify language. And of course, language is one of the defining features of being a human versus that we know of. Now, again, we define language at this point, and we didn't used to, okay, prior to agriculture. Then there was from 10,000 up until about 500 years ago, we had to papyruses, we taking our notes on our walls with a chisel, and we found some paint, right? This is what I had to do to take my note. Sight creates blind spots. So now, when we think of language, we literally, me, myself, and I see the word in my mind's eye. Now, how much I need to see the word in my mind's eye, how I can shift beyond needing to do that, is repetition. So in English, I'm cool. Tried to learn a little Yoruba a month or two ago. I could not transduce. I was like, put it in a WhatsApp chat. Let me see what you're trying to say to me. That really, now I got it. Now, Mona Iffy. I don't know how to say it, Mona Iffy. And I know what it means. And I can see it in my mind's eye, and so I can practice it. And then when I find, I'm chatting with some Nigerian friends, I can ask for a better pronunciation, and I'm gonna have that down. So, love is really crucial in a scientific way. I define love as the energy flowing through, helping us decide what to do, what not to do. And we've built a human civilization that forces humans into enslavement, where governments, such as Nigeria, start shooting into crowds of protesters in Lagos. The narrative is almost at the meta level, precisely the same as the US. Did we achieve anything? So much injury, so many lives lost, so many people now with jail records. Have we achieved anything? We're protesting. This is, I am fearless. I don't give a damn about looting. I do not give a damn about property damage to businesses. On a peaceful day. But when Black men are getting shot and assassinated because they moving around the world, which is precisely, I mean, in Nigeria, you know, it's a infrastructure problem, really, at the core, and the infrastructure being that, I mean, just celebrated their independence 60 years ago. So it makes perfect sense that Nigeria would be the second country to go berserk after the US of hypocrisy. I mean, I guess they're sort of going berserk in the UK. There might be some berserkedness elsewhere. You know, how much I have a blind spot for news. You can't, we now know everybody has agendas. There's no such thing as pure news. So I get what I get on LinkedIn. And hopefully not much. I get rid of people that give you too much news. Just enough. Because I'm trying to assess all this at the meta level and come up with strategies, philosophical strategies to help everyone alter their own thinking. So if I was a man, this is some of the places where people just get on me. It's y'all's problem for not listening to me. I am crazy in love with our species, all of us. Pecans. You know, I'm really not an American. I think maybe the single biggest thing I would miss if I was not in America are pecans. Cacao. I'd get all kind of good cacao if I was in Nigeria. Ghana. Tanzania. A lot of places, terroir-wise. Okay, so I don't know. Is it socially acceptable to lick up your spoon? To me, it's a functional thing so that my fingers don't get chocolatey. I'm using the spoon. I'm trying to keep my fingers. I might be doing some note-taking typing in a Gmail. So, I'm stirring it all through, and the batter come up the side. I'm always licking the spoon in the batter, right? You make instant rock cacao mousse. Same principle, I think. Oh, see? I can't. Now I'm too multitasking here. I'll get better. It's all about acting. Learning to be an actress. Creating the script of my own life. We did the lay of the land, right? There's no way for me to get the URL on this, right? Oh. You're either going to catch me, you're not going to catch me. I'm both thinking and simply deep in my mousse. These are the kinds of what the mindful as practitioners might say, of just watching the stream of your thoughts. Focus on cacao in liquid form and stirring it and integrating it, making it this incredible substance that just transcends the 3 ingredients. 4 cinnamon sticks, right? Not physically present, but yeah, really part of it. So it's okay. It doesn't go moussey. If you could see right now, it's really very liquidy. It's more like chocolate milk. That's pretty breakfasty, right? You see? And I tell people to have raw cacao mousse for breakfast. It just doesn't transmit, but it's really just chocolate milk. I am a big kid because nobody played with me. I really am stuck in some ways. I'm being very mature. I'm able to deal with civilizational chaos. But I cannot conform to the rules of our capitalistic society because they're criminal. Now, they're criminal in quite a number of ways, just obviously. But to me, the criminality, as I am a hashtag well-being philosopher, is humans are not machines. We cannot work on constant 40-hour cycles. We cannot be, you must be at work, you must be working. Who cares what your family's going through? Who cares what physical distress your own body's in? That's the big one. It matters. If your body is in physical distress, all these people bragging about how little sleep they get. Sleep is healing. Sleep is more healing than chocolate. And I do not say that lightly. Sleep is also more healing than cannabis. So here's a topic. Why We Sleep, book from Matthew Walker, UC Berkeley, sleep researcher, PhD. I put in that PhD not to impress you, but to say that's also one of these ways that we have of separating somebody who you'll listen to and who you won't listen to. And why would you not listen to me? Because I've written an obscure paper. A bunch of people who like to talk about that obscure topic have said, it's a good paper. Now, I'm not trying to diminish. I mean, again, I am not at all. It's a necessary situation. I'm talking about the public perception and the marketing, right? 100% pro PhDs as people, as a concept. But as Socrates of 2020, I'm saying to you, wisdom is the 1 + 1 = 3 of knowledge. You got your data, you got your knowledge. Right? Data is just pure numbers, facts. no meaning. Knowledge is when you get to the stage of hypotheses, and you can say, well, I can wrap all these pieces of data into some knowledge. As in, you take all these courses and you get a PhD. Maybe you do some research, maybe you don't. Depends. I guess there is a lot of research. I guess I won't sleep on the practical part of it. I had all up in my head. I was doing this sort of defending a thesis, sort of sitting in a room. But yeah, I would suspect, most PhDs do have a fair amount of research going on. That's very useful. But living one's life, if one is a well-being philosopher, is the research that one needs to do. Especially if one is in a completely rare body that needs entirely different operating instructions than the mass. So here's a sample heuristic of well-being philosophy. Because what we do is we separate out stuff from life forms, all species, all life. Now, we're the pinnacle as far as we like to categorize ourselves, and we may be completely sleeping on the orcas. They may actually be out there in the ocean going, yep, no, we're just, yep, let's get this all sorted. We're about to run this planet the right way. And all them terrestrial crazy people just go extinct with their damn selves. So it really is the case that I lost my train of thought right there. It's so juicy to talk about the fact that the men created the Planet of the Apes franchise. But really, honestly, if something takes us out as air breathers, it is almost definitely going to take out our nearest cousins. I was talking about this the other day, and I'm like, I haven't seen a single research paper. So here again, this is the kind of news I would search for. Is anybody monitoring whether apes are suffering from coronavirus 19 or not? Ellen just upsetting people in America, or is something going on over there in the ape population she's taking care of? Now, the thing is hard. We're not going to zoos. They're the ones, the zoo animals would be the first ones we'd notice. We're certainly not traipsing up hills in Rwanda at this particular moment. Some people are conservationists are. Haven't checked how Rwanda is doing. I should really check. Yeah, no, this is how Deb's mind works, and this is we're going to see COVID statistics. Statistics, yeah, we want to get the full site. Rwanda. Total cases 5,000. 34 deaths. Look at Rwanda go. Look at Rwanda go. That is brilliant. Recently watched Black Earth Rising. I have my friend Sissy. She knows some people in Kigali. I was chatting with somebody on the Twitter who just came back from Rwanda with her husband. I think it's the husband. She's a screenwriter, which is why I was following her on Twitter. Then I go, CMU Africa is based in Kigali. CMU Africa. And they're looking for people to work. And I go, don't test me. You're not going to see this coming. Why I'm all up in the pissiness about PhDs is I need a job. CMU Africa is looking for people, but you got to have a PhD. But I got a philosophy degree from Carnegie Mellon, which is equivalent. I'm telling you, it's equivalent. In the broad synthesis, bringing in, I'm not down in the quarks, the neutrinos, the theoretical subatomic particles. That's what most experts, most PhDs are so in their own silo. They just down in the subterranean cave. They're not seeing anything. They've lost the light of the sun. They're pointing down, 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 and doing research. And they do not come up from air, and they do not chat with the rest of us. Most specifically, we're missing the fact of having the PhDs come and be moderated by me. Because I'm going to get I'm going to get their whole bachelor's and into their master's questions. And then we can take these real tiny nuggets of PhD-dom and bring it all together. Yeah, I would go to Kigali. It's Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. I depart for Kigali on Monday. There's a few things I need to take care of. But it would just boom, boom, boom. Let's go. Let's bring well-being philosophy heuristics to Africa. Holla, please. Holla, holla, holla. Somebody holla. Somebody holler. How am I continuing to be alone? What happens is of course, my Socratic monologues get more and more complex. So I understand this theory of everything completely. It's an alphabet to me, A through Z. I can go A through Z, and now you basically, if you're a visual language person, you've seen the whole chart of the language, right? It's kind of curious because I see when I'm just thinking about the alphabet, I see it vertically, not horizontally left to right. Imagine if you were somebody whose language went right to left. That, and especially if you learn both, that's going to really do your corporate colossum good. And there's a similar concept of hemispheres in our physical body as well. My right side is my Lou Ferrigno side, and my Bill Bixby side is my left side. Yesterday, I watched for the first time since right around then, my very first video on April 7th, 2019. You will not see that coming. You really won't. I'm gonna start forcing people to care for me. I mean, 18 freaking months of this. Trying to say, this is what I know. I have a really interesting way. Let me do a little performance for you. But seriously, ask me anything. Humans, the speed of the internet, the size of your screens, your brain shrinks. When you are on that phone and you're responding to my comments, you do not get me. That is your fault. I do not need to fix myself. Just listen to Tim Ferriss and Matthew McConaughey. They can transduce me. So, I always bring things back together. I don't hate PhDs. I hate that there's a requirement that I have to have a PhD because I'd fly to Kigali and go to work. And people say, go get a $10 an hour job at the grocery store. And I can go to Kigali and teach philosophy. It's the kind of job I would be honored. And I would be more fulfilled. And I would be with people who are appreciative of intellectual discourse. The Africans are still, and specifically my friend Simon O'Kala, let's not say everyone on the continent, but my friend Simon, all about the Proverbs. He's again taking bleeding edge knowledge of here and ancestral and constantly do the equilibrium. People lived quite successfully for quite some time without language, without written language, until the printing press in 1440. It was invented by Gutenberg. This happened parallel to Portugal and Henry the Navigator taking their ocean sailing ships because Spain had them all landlocked, and they went to Africa and they did something heinous. They created the transatlantic slave trade, and not okay with the fact that we continue to have such a strong legacy of that mindset. That royal court of Portugal, Henry the Navigator, in the mid 1400s, they warped themselves and they created this concept that we'll call in 2020 the delusion of white supremacy. Must always say the delusion of white supremacy. It's a delusion. It's a mental illness. Whiteness somehow being naturally in charge. It's a PR campaign. The most successful one we've ever tried to eradicate. But there's PR campaigns again about PhDs deserving your trust, boom, but somebody with a bachelor's degree in philosophy, not so much so. We have all of this faulty beliefs. You can't know if you can trust somebody really if you don't listen to them. It's the variable of time. And it's the variable of getting out of either or thinking, which is 1 + 1 = 2 math, the math of stuff, the math of counting. That's all right. And there are situations when it's either or. You're either going to have chocolate or vanilla ice cream. That's what you got in the fridge, okay? You can sit around and dream, but I'd really prefer pistachio. More pistachio than mint, right? Of course, I picked pistachio. Don't test me. Test me was actually what I mean by don't test me. But don't test me as in. So yeah, as of yesterday, it says you won't see this coming. That's my sort of you won't like me when I'm angry. So yeah, the Incredible Hulk, the redheaded She-Hulk, you love her when she's angry because she's trying to solve big philosophical civilization level problems for humanity. But you got to learn to think straight. Nope, think straight. Can't say think straight. That's linear, is it not? You got to learn to think tesseract. Tesseract. So tesseracting is, I always call the verb tesseracting. It's from A Wrinkle in Time. Thank you, Madeleine L'Engle and Ava DuVernay. Tesseracting is really what this is. That's basically 4 dimensions of thinking. So you got your 1 + 1 = 2. That's your either or. 1 + 1 = 3 is if, then, therefore. You see, I went vertical again, languaging. This is why we think so hierarchical, that we're constantly, and higher is better. Even though grounding and earthing is literally some of the most important things you could do for your health. It's also the 80-20 rule. We are always going, top 20%, bottom 80%. We rarely, occasionally, but rarely see the bottom 20% and the top 80%, right? We're always about these hierarchical systems of right and better. Right is not right is better. And when it comes to life, it's a horizontal plane. It's 80 in the middle and 10 and 10, or perhaps 15 and 5. Now we're down to anti-racism in America, 15 and 5. Everyone in the middle, the breeders, and then 15 and the 5. It's probably like that. It's probably more like 17 and 3, 18 and 2, depending on what variable we're talking about. If we're talking about red hair, 80% of people are in the black, brown hair. There's some blonde. 2% of the globe has red hair. The whole globe. Not just the British Isles and a few Americans. Red hair is quite entirely a feature and adaptation of humanity that evolution makes just appear. It's called genetic polymorphism, and red hair just appears. It can be hereditary. Obviously, in the British Isles, redhead and redhead, it can come through and build, and that's where most of the percentage is. The genetic polymorphism, I don't know that anyone's ever done the research. Who'd pay for it to see how truly rare 3 feet of curly red hair is? Really? How rare is this? About as rare as a human who can carry 333 pounds without ever going to the doctor. And who can then at 50 say, I had enough of that polar bear body. I'm ready to become a giraffe. How does all of this storytelling get ignored? It's not me. How do the people who've experienced me forget about me? Constant scrolling pressure of social media, the constant new, the constant incessant, like this, stream this, read this, say these nice things. I don't have anything to do with the part of the internet that doesn't say nice things to each other. I like this, right? And interesting. And that's because the glasses. Both my parents had black hair. Did they treat me like an alien? In the, immigrant sense. Language matters so much in many more deep ways than we're really thinking about. I mean, it really sets up a full belief system. Right? Even again, whether I'm seeing the alphabet vertically A to Z, when almost certainly it should be A to Z. I should have horizontal that. But that came up so that I could do my whole bit about either or, and if, then, therefore. Either or is really combative. If, then, therefore is flowing. If, then, therefore continues. It's a nice repetition. If, then, therefore. Now I'm uniting the basic chunk of philosophical syllogisms and programming in that phraseology. Every programmer in the audience is if, then, therefore, and that's how programs, whatever computing language we're talking about, are built. Philosophical logic. Software consultant for 2 decades. I know databases inside and out. I'm suspect about machine learning. I think if we've got our continuum here of 100, I think we're way here. It's doing repetitive things really well. But garbage in, garbage out. And this is the concept of pods on LinkedIn, which have basically functionally bankrupted me. And I'm ready to sue. I'm ready to fucking sue. That is not fair trade. It's a good lawsuit. Anything I put my mind to, I can blossom into a robust Socratic dialogue. This is my skill. It's rare. I am she Socrates. I am looking for my Plato, and I do believe he is a black man, perchance an African. I mean, perchance, like statistically, pretty soon, Africa gonna have more people than everywhere else. I think that's a fair statement in about 20 years. Definitely the 30-year time frame of when we might self-extinct if Africa does not emerge as the leading continent. And US of hypocrisy can be whatever it is. We can be similarly, but we won't be the be-all, end-all. The ruler of the goddamn globe. That concept. Where the biggest problem that will lead to our self-extinction is that now billionaires are paying for everything. So now the ideological, non-debated with this philosopher lens of a Gates is informing philanthropy, and he not a out and proud racist, but he's a mechanical 1 + 1 = 2 guy. Taking the math of stuff and applying it to humans. If I could just sit down with him and Satya and Melinda, we can bring the Nebraska guy in. I think that's a fair fight for them. that is a fair round table. Melinda and Bill and Satya and the Oracle of Nebraska. I won't be doing video journaling. This is me in my own mind. This is me testing out my arguments and my premises, making interconnections for myself so that I have already done the logic, so I can, again, bring in the fact that literally I am volunteering to go teach in Kigali. I mean, obviously philosophy first, but I can also teach basic programming. I can teach how databases are. I can help people think about cryptocurrency, which we've renamed officially. People getting it. D-money. D-money. You didn't see that coming, did you? Not for Deb. Although Deb apparently is a prefix that means heart in Indian. I don't know if it's Sanskrit. I don't have the memory, and there's so many languages, so I feel inferior to. But I'll ask Debesh. D money for me. D for digital. Crypto's scary. We'll be calling it, and Bitcoin is a proprietary name, and we're all done with all of the E's and the I's and the internet time and the electronic time. It's digital money. D money. My name is D Nice. That's how I get this started. I was getting on the IG Live with a D Nice. I should do that before the phone go kaput. I should just get on it with the D Nice. Huh. We're going to ponder. Q-tip. Abstract. Holla, please. So here's what's going on. I think I'm 46 minutes. Holy crapola. Time just goes away. Not in the least bit. Shy about asking D Nice to be on. Not in the least. The question, what all that was about, just with the continuing breakfast stage, was how would I frame all this? What would I do? I mean, how long would D Nice want to talk to me? How can I? What would I bring up in 5 minutes that would just take D Nice down a rabbit hole? It's this thing because I'm sort of like, I'm cool with it. The thing is how D Nice would only want to give me like 90 seconds. It'd be fail. I get about 5 to 7 minutes. I'd have him. And I can't prepare, right? The preparing thing. This is stream of consciousness. This is the joy of being alive, right? That's the key. We're all trying to prepare, and boy, I am not a fan of the TED Talk structure and the censorship and the dehumanization of the style, the de-improvisational of the style. Look, only really rich, secure people can be on a TED Talk. I mean, we think it's because they're smart. We think it's because they make it seem like, well, this has been peer vetted. This is rational. Ain't no one more rational than Rupert Sheldrake. I'm so sorry. If you go and ban Rupert Sheldrake, Deb is holding a grudge. It's like Deb feels that FB I've had a moral problem with FB from the very beginning. I sense these things. I understand these things complexly, instantaneously, because of the breadth of all of the references. And looking at this anthropologically, I'm looking at this with the hegemony of corporations. I'm looking at this as advertising is all made up. Most of what American adults think they know as facts come from advertisements. advertising the drugs. The point where, right, you couldn't advertise to be a lawyer, you couldn't advertise cigarettes now. Be advertising pharmaceutical drugs. They just be making up syndromes, left, right, and center. Now, all anyone ever does is talk about themselves in terms of their diagnoses. I am not diagnosable. That's been hashtag redheaded She-Hulk out. We're going to finish this stream, but I might just come back on.